How are you doing? I'm Dr. Lisa, and I am a people culture and operations strategist. If you're new here, specifically on this channel, I speak about different ways for inspiring people to be leaders, not only within the workplace, but within their life. And in today's segment for day 4 of Black History Month, I'll be focusing on speaking about how aligning with the oppressor won't save you from oppression. I think this is something that everyone can relate to very easily. Don't really need to do a deep dive into it. I mean, we see it in movies, we see it within friendships, we see it within the workplace, we see it everywhere. People aligning with those that are the oppressor, those that are in a power position, but oppressing others, and doing it all out of a way for ill-gotten gains, right? Because people think that when they align with power, that it's going to protect them. We see that even with politics, right? Regardless of what side you're on, what administration, regardless of when you see something negative coming out and you find out people are aligning with it. You see it even with the files that are being released, and people are aghast by who's over there and who's aligning, right? Because it's all about power. Power gives you control. Power allows you to feel superior and for you to then suppress others that are just like you, right? We see it in the history of why we have Black History Month and the necessary lessons that are there to show us the importance of learning from the past, which in the past, many slaves aligned with the oppressor, the master. How slaves were caught. Many Africans aligned with the the um the uh the colonists, whatever you want to call them, the kidnappers. Can't think of the word right now, but regardless of what situation or where you are in the world, and what dynamics that you're playing in it, you have come across this, or you may have done it yourself. You never know. I don't know you. You may have done it yourself, but it's all on the understanding that you know you are protected because you're aligning with the oppressor. You're aligning with that power dynamic, and it's all because they want to chase the opportunity others will not get, right? It's the willingness to position yourself as different as those that are also being oppressed, or as those that you're working alongside, or those that, are within a space where you have to try to appeal or make yourself be more leveled up. Regardless of that, it doesn't guarantee that you are going to be, safe or protected forever. Money comes with conditions. Certain offerings come with conditions. It doesn't mean that you are going to be 100% accepted. Having a seat at the table never means that you are supposed to be there, right? It doesn't mean anything. It's just a way of creating a strategy for the superior, right? And it's for those that have aligned. It's their form of protection and cowardness, right? So regardless if you're in the workspace, wherever you are, when you witness this, that's what you're witnessing. That's what you're recognizing. You need to recognize that it's not that that person is more superior to you because they've been selected. They've been selected for a reason. They've been selected because of something that that person in power needs from them, right? That means that they're being used. And it's up to you to recognize what that is, to not only have an understanding of what's really going on, but how to protect yourself. Because you can be in an actual dangerous dynamic. Because when you see this type of thing going on, it's all for ill-gotten gain, really, right? Because if someone's being used, that means they're being used for a reason. That means they're looking to be used as that tool to continue the suppression or to continue the whatever power dynamic that is going on. hindering people from having fair compensation. We see a lot of things when it comes about with how people are being compensated fairly, or how people are going to be promoted. So it's all to push this ideology to keep imbalance. That's really what it's about. And it's up to us as leaders to recognize what that is, right? Because those people that are willing to align with the suppressor, it means that they're willing to erase parts of themselves so that they can fit in. Like they're going out of their way to fit into a space, to uphold a system that is willing to not only harm them, that they think that they're not being harmed, but also others within their community, right? So when you see people align with policies that aren't beneficial to all within the workspace, you have to recognize that they don't have not only your best interest and the whole workplace's best interest, but they don't even have their own best interest. But they're assuming that them aligning is going to protect them from what is not protecting anyone. It's very strange that we can do that as humans, but it's all out of fear, right? Because and this is why it's important to not walk and live in fear, regardless of where you are in the world, regardless of what space you're in. You have to have courage. You can't think that assimilation is going to mean that you're accepted. Because when you're assimilating, that means that you're ignoring what is really you, right? Because you're going against what makes you who you are and what you truly believe, to align with ill-gotten gains, with the hope that you won't be impacted in the end. Even when you see other people following suit with the alignment and the assimilation, and they're also going about and getting taken out because of something, whether some information comes out or they don't get that promotion that they were promised, regardless. However they're being used as a tool, it's not going to be beneficial for you in the long run. This is why I've chosen to make these talks, to kind of help highlight this and empower us all, even myself, because we all fall victim to things, right? And so that we can be self-aware and also empower others. As I always say, you may not realize that you're a leader, but somebody is looking at you and somebody is inspired by you. So if you're able to recognize and be self-aware, whoever's watching you, they're going to watch and see that as well, and it's going to empower them also. So it's important for us to understand that when the system no longer needs us after we've been used, right? That you never truly were accepted, as I said, and you were just tolerated. And, those loyalties never were a loyalty truly for you and for everyone else. Because remember, power is all about upholding only a certain amount of people, only certain people. And I think we forget that because we get so caught on division and divisiveness, whether in politics, whether in the workplace, just in society as a whole, right? We get so immersed in that we forget that power basically is designed for the few. The 0.0001%. People like to say the 1%, but it's actually less than that. The 0.0001%, right? So if it's built on that and the understanding that systems are built on that, how can we create change and impact change if we're willing to just align, just to assimilate with the idea or the hope and prayer that we will all benefit in the end, meaning them and whoever they love, right? Because when we align, we're doing it for ourselves and whoever we think that we're going to help, And that's where that fear and the need to be courageous comes in, with the recognition and understanding that you're not going to always get what you want, right? So why sacrifice your integrity and who you truly are over the desire for something that isn't really real and isn't really for you? So instead of living in this survival tactic of assimilating, right, you need to look at ways to claim your solidarity without seeking superiority, because no one is really superior over anyone. We just have a habit as humans of uplifting certain people. That's all. And we have to learn that we have to look to ourselves. And the only way that we can create change is to be creative, right? And to have true loyalty on where and what we believe in. You can't just think that what you're aligning with is going to protect you. And I think a lot of people forget that. And we see a lot of that in society where people align with people because not really that they're scared, but because they have a belief, an internal belief that someone or something is not what they truly believe, right? But as Maya Angelou always said, if someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. And that's why it's important to understand that you aligning isn't going to protect you. Yeah, regardless if they got a secret on you and they're willing to spill it, or the assumption that you're going to get some job, or you're going to be promoted to some position, or your family is going to be protected, or anything like that. History shows us, even in movies, it shows us, even as we've gone through our childhoods, we've either witnessed something or we've experienced something where we have been betrayed. We have been betrayed because someone has aligned with someone who is our oppressor, or who is our enemy, or who is someone that does not have you viewed as someone worthy, right? And that's all just a lesson. And it's all something that we need to take and recognize and stand true within ourselves, that we are not, or you are not, I should say, a victim of your own misunderstandings or your own desires. Because it's easy to become a victim of that, right? Especially within the world we're living in now. It's so hard just to do some things, depending on where you live and however your lifestyle is. It's hard. So it can be very easy to step off of your moral compass and not really move in step with how you truly believe, and not looking to help other people. It's easy to do because it's such a hard time that many people are in right now. And I think it's important to understand that we all have to have a strategy in how we move in life, you know, and strategy in living in fear and in survival tactics of assimilations against our beliefs, against those that are hindering others and suppressing others. That is not a strategy for change. That's just a short-term solution. It's not something that can go forever. So I think it's important to choose courage over comfort, because choose courage over comfort and liberation over proximity. Because proximity to power doesn't guarantee that you are powerful. It only determines that you are powerless, because you're not looking into yourself and you're not utilizing your own power, what makes you great, your knowledge and skills and ideas, and how you are a leader to others, and recognizing why you're a leader to others, right? Because there's someone out there that views you as a leader. You need to have those, and you need to have that understanding of what makes you great, versus dulling your own light to align with the proximity to power, because that's not going to guarantee you any kind of success in life. Even if you're able to go on and benefit for the short term, maybe even the long run, in the end the truth will come out. Or you're just going to go about looking and going down in history as weak, as a coward, because you've been willing to align. And the scary part about it is those that like to align are the loudest in the room, as if they thought up the ideas. No, you're just the tool that's used to help usher that idea, to strengthen that idea, to make that idea a reality. You are a tool. So don't be a tool. Be a leader. Be an innovator. Be a creator. And lead the change. And beat the change. Well, I hope that this talk has a great influence and inspiration and motivation for you and others. Thank you for joining me. And I will be back on again tomorrow with day 5 of Lessons from Black History Month. And as I always say, love yourself and others. Bye.